Oh, and this is my favorite slide in the whole bunch. This is a picture of my father and myself. My 14th birthday, my mom took this picture to memorialize not my birthday, but to memorialize the day that my dad and I realized that we were the same height. Didn't last very long. It's also the morning that we realized it was time for me to get a big boy tie. Yeah, look at my dad's right there. That's my dad. That is my dad. When I was a kid, hardly a week went by but what he didn't say to me. When I was your age, I used to get up at 4 in the morning and walk 12 miles to school. Uphill. Both ways. Through the snow. Barefoot. No, naked. Many mornings I was naked walking to school, so cold. And I used to say to my friends, because I thought this was so unusual, I was, tell me the truth. Did your moms and dads have to walk many miles to school? And they all had the same response. Except for one of my friends who said, no, as I recall, my dad only used to have to go about 9. But he used to have to raft part of it. Made me wonder why people back in those days didn't build schools somewhere near where the kids lived. That would have been a good idea, don't you think? That's my dad when I was a kid, middle of the winter. Pennsylvania, northern Pennsylvania, so cold. Oh, I'd come in, oh man, is it cold out there? My dad would say, you have no idea what cold is. When I was a kid, Bobby, listen, it used to get so cold, I kept getting my lips and my tongue stuck on that old metal cowbell. Wait a minute, Dad, did you say you kept getting them stuck? You did that more than once. That's my dad. If I said to him, oh man, twisted that ankle, there's some pain, my dad would say, you have no idea what pain is. When I was a kid, pain really hurt. Walk it off. That was my dad's solution to any injury. Walk it off. Bloody nose. Well, walk it off. Diarrhea. Walk it off. Oh man. Thanks, Dad. I think it's working. I actually had appendicitis. My dad told me to walk it off. Now listen, I cut him a little slack, okay? He's not a medical doctor. That's the problem. He didn't know that I had it. I didn't know that I had appendicitis either, but I did. And when I woke up at 4 a.m., my dad was 3 feet away going, I am so sorry. Oh, man. If I had known it was appendicitis, I never would have said that. I'm so sorry. I thought it was a gallstone or a twisted bowel. Oh, I'll tell you, I've had so much, all these years, I've had so much fun, so many laughs at my father's expense. But I want you to know, if he were here tonight, he would be sitting, well, he'd be sleeping. But I would tell these stories and he would just be delighting in them, which just tickles me as his son. Because I understand that my dad gets it. My dad understands my profession. My dad knows that I'm just using him to make money. That's what I'm doing. Hardly ever seen him angry. That is the truth. I bet a lot of you cannot say that. I've hardly ever seen him. Well, one time, I had a slinky. How many of you did, by the way? This would be an interesting question. Look, come on, let's try it. I'm going to ask that question again. How many of you had a slinky? Look at the hands. That has to be one of the greatest marketing feats in all of American history. Some marketing genius convinced, listen, 300 million of us that we all had to have our own personal spring. And it didn't even do anything, people. It did not go downstairs. Did not. No, it did not. No, yours didn't either. No, it didn't. It went down 2 steps and threw itself down the rest. You know that's true. That's true. I had a giant slinky. We're talking close to $2. And apparently after playing with it one day, I left it laying in the high grass. Where the next day, my dad hit it with the power mower. This did make him a little angry. Although it may not have been so much anger as it was just fear. Because that is a terrifying sight to see that ever-lengthening strand of wire an inch and a half above the ground rotating at 2,200 RPM. Mowed the whole backyard in 3.5 seconds that day. I got a call from my mom a few years back. She said, your dad's had a terrible accident. My dad, old man now, had climbed up in an apple tree, 18 feet. That's about as high as one can climb in an apple tree. He's picking apples up there and throwing them to my cousin, who should have been in the apple tree. My cousin is catching the apples and putting them in an apple basket, and my dad figured out if he could pick a whole lot of apples and throw them faster than my cousin could catch them and put them, then he could repeatedly hit my cousin. And they got laughing. Well, my dad was. He grabbed a rotten limb, snapped off 18 feet to the ground. Old paratrooper, he managed to land on his side, but shattered his pelvis. They have him in surgery for 4 or 5 hours, trying to screw him back together. My mom's trying to get me. She can't reach me. 2 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours later, she finally gets through. I said, can I talk to him? She said, yeah, I think so. Hey, I want to tell you something, folks. I love my mom and my dad. I am a kid who has always loved his mom and dad, and never a moment in my life have I questioned if my mom and dad love me. I'm so thankful for that. But having said that, I would also tell you this, my dad and I didn't say those 3 words, I love you. Hardly ever. And I wondered why that is, because I always said those words to my boys, and they to their children, and I to my grandchildren. But all those years growing up, my dad and I didn't say that. I said, can I talk to him? She said, yeah, I think so. And then I heard him say, hi, Bob. 2 syllables. And I heard the pain in my dad's voice. I'd never heard pain in my dad's voice before. I said, Dad, I'm so sorry about this. He said, well, thanks, Bob. I said, I heard you were up pretty high. He said, you have no idea how. I thought he was going to tell me about how his skin was heating up as he came through the atmosphere back down to earth. I said, Dad, I wish there was something I could say to make you feel better. I really do. And then I realized, hey, folks, life is short, huh? And I said those 3 words, so long overdue. Dad, walk it off.